the invisible danger of the perfect number, and the story of a cascade. Have you ever questioned the golden rule of blood pressure? For decades, we have heard the exact same message repeated over and over again. The ideal number is 120/80. That is the ultimate goal. That is what every single person should aim for. And the lower you can get that number, the safer you are. But groundbreaking clinical research published recently points to a very different and shocking reality. For mature adults over the age of 65, striving for that textbook perfect 120/80 might actually be unhelpful. In fact, it could be the hidden trigger behind sudden instability, unexpected balance issues, and a rapid decline in overall vitality. Today, I want to share the truth about what these numbers really mean as our bodies grow older. I am not going to reveal our new scientifically validated target number just yet, because it is absolutely vital that you first understand the internal mechanics of why this shift happens. If you simply write down a number and leave, you will miss the complete picture of how an overly low reading impacts a mature system. Before we look at the right targets, you need to see exactly what happens within the body when we try to force a senior's biology into a standard baseline meant for a 40-year-old. Sometimes chasing a lower number creates a silent hazard. Before we dive into the science, I want to ask you to share something in the comments below. What is your current average blood pressure? And how old are you? Just share the numbers and your age. Seeing what baseline you are running helps us understand the experiences of our wonderful community. To truly understand how a textbook perfect number can cause harm, let us look at a story that illustrates this pattern perfectly. It is the story of a vibrant 78-year-old woman named Eleanor. 10 years earlier, at age 68, she was told her blood pressure was slightly elevated, running at 152/88. A standard routine was introduced, starting with one simple adjustment. Within 2 months, her numbers settled at 138/82. It was a noticeable improvement, but the target remained 120/80. To reach that goal, the intensity was increased, and soon a second option was added to her routine. Eleanor was told that reaching 120/80 was where she would be safest, where her long-term risks would be lowest. Eleanor trusted this advice completely. She monitored her numbers faithfully at home, and after a short while, her system registered 122/78. It was almost exactly at the textbook goal. Her adjustments were considered a total success, and she was encouraged to keep doing exactly what she was doing. At first, Eleanor felt reasonably fine, perhaps just a bit more tired than usual. But she was nearly 80, and she assumed a little extra tiredness was simply a natural part of getting older. Then, a strange pattern began to emerge. Every time Eleanor stood up from a comfortable chair or got out of bed, the room would spin violently for just a few seconds. She would experience a wave of dizziness and have to hold on tightly to a piece of furniture until her head cleared. When she mentioned this, she was told it was likely just a typical sign of time, a reflection of the fact that blood vessels become less elastic over the years, and take a moment to adjust when changing positions. The advice was simple. Just stand up very slowly and take your time. Eleanor did exactly that. She moved with extreme caution, standing up at a snail's pace, but the dizziness refused to leave. It happened when she got up from the couch, when she stepped out of bed, and when she stood up after dinner. She began to develop a deep sense of anxiety about the simple act of standing. Her family noticed this cautious, fearful movement and asked what was wrong. Eleanor explained the spinning sensation, and her family suggested checking back with the support team. The response she received was predictable. As long as her resting blood pressure numbers looked great, the minor dizziness was likely just a factor of age, and she simply needed to drink more water to help her system adjust. The dizziness continued unabated. Then, one morning, exactly 3 months after forcing her numbers down to that ideal 122/78, Eleanor woke up early. She sat up, swung her legs over the edge of the mattress, and stood up. Instantly, the room spun with terrifying force. Her knees buckled beneath her. She reached out in the dark to steady herself, missed the nightstand, and fell heavily to the floor, fracturing her hip. When the emergency team arrived, they checked her numbers while she was lying flat on the floor, and the reading was 118/74. But when they sat her up, the number plummeted to 94/62. When they managed to help her stand briefly, it dropped even further to a dangerous 82/54. This is a classic and severe manifestation of orthostatic hypotension, a condition where the body completely loses its ability to maintain adequate pressure when changing positions. The routine she was following had pushed her baseline so low that her system could no longer pump enough blood upward against gravity when she stood up. Her brain was quite literally being starved of oxygen-rich blood the moment she was upright, and that is precisely what caused the catastrophic fall. At the hospital, the fracture required complex surgery. While the procedure itself went well, the road to recovery for a 78-year-old body is incredibly steep. Eleanor spent weeks in a specialized rehabilitation center, exhausting herself in daily sessions, trying to learn how to walk all over again. Before this incident, she had been entirely independent, managing her own home, driving, and cooking. Now, she required assistance with the most basic daily tasks: bathing, dressing, and moving. She felt as though she had aged 2 decades in a matter of days. Eventually, Eleanor returned home, but her vibrant world had shrunk completely. She was terrified of walking without a heavy, supportive frame, terrified of moving too quickly, and terrified of being left alone. She stopped going to church, stopped visiting her friends, and rarely left her living room. 6 months later, due to this profound lack of movement and spending nearly all her time sitting or lying down, a significant amount of fluid accumulated in her lungs, leading to a severe respiratory issue. Her deconditioned body, weakened by months of forced immobility, simply did not have the reserves left to clear the issue. Eleanor passed away just 3 days later. Her family was left with a deep sense of anger. Eleanor had been completely fine, active, and independent before her numbers were forced down so aggressively. Chasing a textbook ideal of 120/80 started a cascading chain of events that ultimately led to the loss of her independence and her life. It raises a profound question. How can a number that is widely considered perfect cause so much harm? The answer is that 120/80 is not perfect for everyone. It is especially unhelpful for mature adults. If you ever experience a brief sensation of dizziness or lightheadedness when you stand up, please type the word dizzy in the comments right now. This is a vital warning sign that your current baseline might be far too low for your unique age and biology. Eleanor's story highlights a critical reality. Our bodies undergo profound physiological shifts as we age, and following a blanket guideline meant for a middle-aged system can be a major mistake. The 4 structural shifts and the new target sweet spot. Now, let us explore why mature bodies require a completely different set of rules compared to younger generations. Why might a reading of 120/80 be perfectly appropriate for a middle-aged individual, but deeply unsettling for a mature system? There are 4 major structural changes that happen inside our bodies as we cross the milestone of age 65. The very first reason is the natural stiffening of our blood vessels. Over the decades, the walls of your large arteries gradually lose their youthful elasticity. They naturally become firmer and less flexible. Because these stiffened pathways can no longer expand and contract with ease to absorb the pressure wave created by each heartbeat, your body actually requires a slightly higher baseline pressure to push that oxygen-rich blood all the way upward to your vital organs, especially your brain. In a younger person with highly pliable vessels, a lower reading is more than enough to maintain a steady flow against gravity. But in a mature system, forcing that number down to a textbook ideal means your stiffened vessels cannot adjust quickly enough when you stand up. The flow to your head instantly drops, leaving you unstable. The second critical shift involves our internal pressure sensors, known as baroreceptors. These are specialized microscopic sensors located inside your major blood vessels that constantly monitor pressure changes. The moment you stand up from a bed or a chair, gravity naturally tries to pull your blood downward into your legs. In a young body, these sensors react instantly, signaling the heart to beat a fraction faster and commanding the vessels to narrow, maintaining perfect stability. However, as the years advance, these sensors become significantly less sensitive. They respond at a much slower pace. If your resting baseline is already pushed low and your internal sensors react with a delay, you will experience a drastic drop in pressure before your system can even manage to compensate. This is exactly how sudden instability is triggered. The The third reason comes down to a heightened sensitivity to daily routines and interventions. As our systems mature, the way our liver and kidneys process inputs shifts permanently. The filtration rate naturally tapers down, meaning that any adjustments or substances introduced to manage your cardiovascular system stay inside your body much longer and exert a significantly stronger effect. A routine that is perfectly calibrated for a 50-year-old can overwhelm an 80-year-old system, pushing the numbers down into an unexpected and dangerous valley. The fourth and perhaps most profound reason is a fundamental shift in risk priorities. For a 40 or 50-year-old individual, the primary concern is preventing subtle, long-term wear and tear over the next 3 or 4 decades. For them, chasing a lower number makes sense because they have a long horizon ahead. But for a mature system over 70 or 80, the immediate daily hazard of an unexpected fall far outweighs the theoretical, long-term benefits of a textbook-perfect reading. A single instance of instability leading to a fracture can alter a senior's quality of life within days, whereas a moderately elevated, stable baseline of 140 over 85 can safely sustain a person for years without causing a single issue. The calculation completely changes. Now, let us examine what the latest high-quality clinical research actually reveals, because it completely contradicts the older guidelines that many individuals are still trying to follow. Most of the traditional standards dictating a universal 120 over 80 goal were established using data from healthy, middle-aged subjects. Very few long-term studies looked specifically at individuals over 75 or 80. A massive real-world clinical trial published in the Journal of the American Medical Association closely followed over 15,000 adults over the age of 75. Unlike highly selective laboratory trials, this research included typical, real-world older adults, including those managing everyday health factors and frailty. The findings were undeniable. Among adults over 75, those who maintained a top reading, the systolic pressure, between 130 and 140, demonstrated the absolute highest rates of longevity and the best quality of life. Those whose numbers were pushed below 120 experienced a significant rise in sudden balance failures, acute kidney strain, and a decline in physical reserves. On the flip side, those whose numbers consistently exceeded 150 faced elevated circulatory stress. The ultimate sweet spot for a mature, independent life is a systolic reading in between 130 and 140. A slightly higher baseline provides the vital force required to maintain perfect organ perfusion, prevents sudden drops upon standing, and preserves your day-to-day physical safety. However, it is crucial to recognize that a single number does not fit every individual. The ideal baseline must always be personalized according to your specific age, your activity levels, and your unique physical reserves. Let us look at a real-world example of how personalization changes everything. Think of a healthy, highly active 72-year-old man named Harold. His baseline was running at 146 over 88, and a concerted effort was made to force him down to 120 over 80. Within 2 months, his numbers reached 124 over 78. On paper, it looked excellent, but in reality, Harold felt absolutely terrible. He was constantly exhausted, suffered from dizzy spells, and could no longer focus on his daily projects. His entire quality of life plummeted. When his case was reviewed holistically, noting that he had excellent kidney function and no major metabolic factors, his routine was safely eased. His baseline was allowed to rest at a comfortable 136 over 82. Instantly, Harold's energy returned, his mind cleared up, and his dizziness vanished completely. For his specific body, that slightly higher number was the ultimate safe zone. But contrast Harold with Margaret, who is the exact same age at 72. Margaret, however, was managing ongoing metabolic challenges, including a sensitive circulatory history. For her unique system, letting her numbers run at 146 over 88 carried too much underlying risk. For her, a careful gradual adjustment was introduced, not to force her all the way down to a restrictive 120, but to bring her safely to a balanced target of 130 over 80. She tolerated this beautifully, maintaining great energy without a single instance of dizziness, while keeping her vital systems fully protected. Same age, yet 2 entirely different pathways based on their personal biology. Before we move forward, Please take a moment to comment below with your age and whether you are currently managing any specific health factors, such as blood sugar adjustments or kidney variations. For example, you can write 72 blood sugar factors or 68 none or 81 kidney tracking. Sharing this helps us illustrate how varied our needs truly are. The kidney equation and the exact safe targets. By age beyond the brain, there is another vital system that is profoundly impacted by overly low pressure. Your kidneys. Your kidneys function as the ultimate internal filtration network, and they require a continuous, steady level of driving pressure to clear waste products from your bloodstream effectively. As our bodies mature, our baseline kidney filtration rate naturally tapers down. If we introduce heavy routines that push our overall blood pressure down too aggressively, the filtration pressure inside the kidneys drops instantly. The kidneys simply cannot perform their crucial job without that necessary force, which can lead to sudden internal strain and a sharp decline in functional efficiency. Therefore, managing our cardiovascular health is always a delicate balance of multiple priorities. We want our baseline pressure to be perfectly balanced, low enough to avoid unnecessary stress on the vessels, but high enough to ensure rich perfusion to both the brain and the kidneys. Most importantly, it must be high enough to completely prevent sudden instability when standing up. This ideal balance point is naturally higher in a mature system than it is in a younger body. Let us outline the specific research-backed target guidelines based on your exact stage of life. Please remember that these numbers serve as excellent benchmarks, but they should always be personalized to your unique daily experiences. Adults age 65 to 75, healthy and active. For individuals in this bracket who enjoy an active lifestyle and manage no major metabolic or circulatory complications, a highly supportive and safe baseline target is a top systolic number between 130 and 140, and a bottom diastolic number between 70 and 85. This provides excellent rich flow to your vital organs while offering great long-term protection. Adults aged 75 to 85, relatively healthy. As we cross into the late 70s and early 80s, our vessels naturally become firmer, and our internal pressure sensors respond with a slight delay. For individuals in this group, a highly stable and appropriate target is a top systolic number between 135 and 145, and a bottom diastolic number between 70 and 85. This slightly higher baseline ensures your brain receives consistent flow against gravity. Adults over 85, or facing frailty at any age. For our most senior demographic, or for anyone managing delicate physical reserves, the absolute number one priority must always be the prevention of sudden instability and the preservation of daily quality of life. For this group, a safe and highly recommended target is a top systolic number between 140 and 150, and a bottom diastolic number between 70 and 85. At this stage, the immediate risk of a balance failure far outweighs any theoretical benefits of a lower textbook number. Mature adults managing specific health factors. If you are managing ongoing metabolic tracking, a history of circulatory events, or specific cardiovascular adjustments, your targets may need a highly individualized calibration. Often, a balanced target of 130 to 135 systolic provides the perfect middle ground, ensuring proper protection while strictly avoiding the dangers of a drop below 120. Close observation of how your body feels during daily movements is absolutely essential. Before we move on to our practical checklist, take a moment to look at these categories and comment below with the group you fall into. You can simply write 65-75 active, or over 85 protective, or 75-85 balancing health factors. Seeing where you stand helps us tailor our community discussions perfectly. Part 5. The at-home instability check and the complete safe protocol. While hitting a reasonable target is highly valuable, the ultimate key to physical safety lies in completely eliminating sudden drops in pressure during daily movement. If your numbers look beautiful while you are resting on a couch, but plummet the moment your feet hit the floor, your system is running under a hidden hazard. Here is exactly how you can perform a highly important check for this instability, right in the comfort of your own home using a standard baseline monitor. First, Lie down flat on your bed or a comfortable sofa and rest quietly for 5 full minutes. Once your system is completely relaxed, take a blood pressure reading and write down the numbers. Next, stand up smoothly. Immediately upon standing, place the monitor at heart level and take a second reading while remaining on your feet. Now, let us look at the math. If your top systolic number drops by more than 20 points, or if your bottom diastolic number drops by more than 10 points, when you stand up, your body is experiencing orthostatic instability. For example, if your resting number is 130/80, but it drops to 105/68 the moment you stand, that represents a 25-point drop in your top number. Even though 130/80 appears perfectly fine on a resting chart, that significant drop upon standing indicates that your current routine may be too intense and needs a gentle calibration. Let us look at another example that shows the immense value of performing this simple check. Consider Thomas, a 74-year-old man whose resting numbers sat at 128/76. His support team was highly pleased with this textbook result. However, Thomas frequently complained of a brief wave of lightheadedness whenever he stood up quickly. He was told that his numbers looked great, and the dizziness was likely caused by something else entirely. Thomas decided to perform the lying to standing check at home. His resting reading was indeed 128/76, but the moment he stood up, his numbers dropped to 98/58, a massive 30-point fall in his top number. His routine was gently adjusted, allowing his resting numbers to move up to a comfortable 136/80. When he stood up under this new baseline, his numbers only dropped by 18 points, settling at a safe 118/72. His dizzy spells vanished completely, his daily physical confidence returned, and his quality of life improved dramatically. A stable, comfortable daily function is always far more important than a rigid number on a sheet of paper. Here is the complete step-by-step protocol to help you determine and manage your ultimate safe baseline in harmony with your personal support network. Step 1. Establish your true average monitor, your numbers at home regularly twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, for 2 full weeks. Keep a simple, clear log. Readings taken in a busy public setting or a rushed office environment can often be artificially elevated due to temporary stress, whereas your home log reflects your true, real-world baseline. Step 2. Perform the instability check. Use the lying to standing test we just described at least twice during your 2-week tracking period. If you notice a significant drop upon standing, take note of it, even if your resting numbers look entirely standard. Step 3. Assess your daily energy. Pay close attention to how your body actually feels throughout the day. Are you experiencing brief moments of lightheadedness, unexplainable afternoon fatigue, or difficulty focusing on your favorite hobbies? These can be clear indicators that your current baseline is running too low for your unique biology. Step 4. Map your complete health picture. Take into account all the unique factors of your health journey, including your personal metabolic history, your physical reserves, and how your system responds to daily changes. Your ultimate goal must always be fully personalized to fit your entire body, not just a single cardiovascular chart. Step 5. Have an informed, collaborative discussion. Bring your 2-week home log, your lying to standing numbers, and your personal notes regarding your daily energy levels to your next wellness review. Have a warm, open conversation about what specific baseline is truly right for your day-to-day comfort, and avoid accepting a blanket standard that doesn't account for your unique age. Step 6. Introduce adjustments with extreme patience. If it is decided to fine-tune your daily routine, always make changes with incredible slowness. Adjust one single element at a time, check your numbers regularly, and monitor your system closely for any signs of instability before considering any further updates. Step 7. Reassess on a regular basis. Your ultimate safe baseline is not fixed in stone. It will naturally shift as your body grows wiser over the years. What feels perfectly balanced at age 70 might need a gentle update by age 80. Repeat this holistic review and your lying to standing check every 6 to 12 months to ensure your routine remains in perfect harmony with your evolving biology. As we conclude our discussion today, I want to leave you with a core philosophy of mature wellness. Always focus on supporting the whole person, not just a number on a chart. True health is never about forcing your unique body to match a rigid textbook value at the expense of your energy, your clarity, and your daily confidence. Your physical independence is an incredibly precious asset, and your system possesses a beautiful, ongoing capacity to adapt and thrive when given the proper, personalized support. Take great care of your body, look after one another, and I look forward to seeing you right here in our next episode.